Welcome to this daily PBJ devotional. Read Joshua 2 and Isaiah 62 today to keep going in the Old Testament reading schedule for the year. This devotional is about Joshua 2. Then Joshua, son of Nun, secretly sent 2 spies from Shittim, saying, "Go inspect the land, especially Jericho." So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. And it was reported to the king of Jericho, "Behold, some men of Israel have come here tonight to spy out the land." So the king of Jericho sent to Rahab and said, "Bring out the men who came to you and entered your house, for they have come to spy out the whole land." But the woman had taken the 2 men and hidden them. So she said, "Yes, the men did come to me, but I did not know where they had come from. At dusk, when the gate was about to close, the men went out, and I do not know which way they went. Pursue them quickly, and you may catch them." But Rahab had taken them up to the roof and hidden them among the stalks of flax that she had laid out there. So the king's men set out in pursuit of the spies along the road to the fords of the Jordan, and as soon as they had gone out, the gate was shut. Before the spies lay down for the night, Rahab went up on the roof and said to them, "I know that the Lord has given you this land, and that the fear of you has fallen on us, so that all who dwell in the land are melting in fear of you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the waters of the Red Sea before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the 2 kings of the Amorites across the Jordan, whom you devoted to destruction. When we heard this, our hearts melted, and everyone's courage failed because of you, for the Lord your God is God in the heavens above and on the earth below. Now therefore, please swear to me by the Lord that you will indeed show kindness to my family, because I showed kindness to you. Give me a sure sign that you will spare the lives of my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and that you will deliver us from death." "Our lives for your lives," the men agreed. "If you do not report our mission, we will show you kindness and faithfulness when the Lord gives us the land." Then Rahab let them down by a rope through the window, since the house where she lived was built into the wall of the city. "Go to the hill country," she said, "so that your pursuers will not find you. Hide yourselves there for 3 days until they have returned. Then go on your way." The men said to her, "We will not be bound by this oath you made us swear, unless when we enter the land you have tied this scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down, and unless you have brought your father and mother and brothers and all your family into your house. If anyone goes out the door of your house into the street, his blood will be on his own head, and we will be innocent. But if a hand is laid on anyone with you in the house, his blood will be on our heads. And if you report our mission, we will be released from the oath you made us swear." "Let it be as you say," she replied, and she sent them away. And when they had gone, she tied the scarlet cord in the window. So the spies went out into the hill country and stayed there 3 days, until their pursuers had returned without finding them, having searched all along the road. Then the 2 men started back, came down from the hill country, and crossed the river. So they came to Joshua, son of Nun, and reported all that had happened to them. "The Lord has surely delivered the entire land into our hands," they said to Joshua. "Indeed, all who dwell in the land are melting in fear of us." This is God's word. Prostitution is always a sin. Always. In biblical times, however, some women had few other choices. If a girl's father died before she was given in marriage, or a woman's husband died or divorced her, and she was not able to remarry, she may very well have felt it was her only other choice besides starvation. Without knowing God and his commands, a Gentile like Rahab may have felt that prostitution was her only option. Yet Rahab, the prostitute, had extraordinary faith. She had more faith than the generation of Israelites who died in the desert, and more than her fellow citizens in Jericho. She heard about what God had done for Israel, and she believed, according to verses 9 through 13. Her faith was so strong that she was willing to put her neck on the line for Israel's spies, according to verses 4 through 7 and verse 15. God rewarded her faith, not only by saving her life, as we'll read in the next chapter, but also by including her in the ancestral line of Jesus, the Messiah. See Matthew 1, verse 5a for that. One lesson here is that God saves sinners. You knew that, and so did I, but we are more comfortable seeing that truth applied to respectable sins, not stigmatic sins like prostitution. While some sins are more acceptable to us than other sins are, they are all wicked in God's sight and deserving of divine punishment. It is no more difficult for God to save a prostitute than it is for him to save an idolater, a drunk, or someone eaten alive by envy. In fact, because we tend to look down on sins like prostitution, God's great mercy causes him to save more of those types of people than others who are more accepted or acceptable to us in terms of the sins they're committing. Keep this in mind when you meet someone who seems like a hardened sinner. It may seem to you like a waste of time to share the gospel with someone like that, but people like that are eternal souls who will spend eternity somewhere. Given that God can save anyone and likes to save those who are disfavored in human society, you might find more success reaching out to drug dealers, pimps, and prostitutes than to people who are more respectable in our culture and have sins that are less defined and looked down on. Don't censor yourself or silence yourself just because you have already decided whether or not God would bother saving a person like that. Instead, look for people who are caught in sin and seek to introduce them to Jesus. And if you found this devotional helpful, please sign up to receive it in your email every day by going to dailypbj.com/subscribe. Please consider giving me financial support on a monthly basis for this work to keep going. Go to dailypbj.com/support for that. Please also share this maybe with someone who might be encouraged to come to Christ today. And I'll see you next time. May God bless you. Hope you have a great day today.